that word called, calling, we often think of spiritual, we think, someone's called to the cloth or something like that. But in the original, I believe Greek, the word is klētós.
Mm-hmm.
And klētós means an invitation. And so I think it's reminding those women to kind of pause and look at what is God, what is life inviting them to do right now, and are they saying yes to that? So
Mm-hmm.
whose invitation are they currently responding to?
A growing health, wellness, and leadership podcast designed for you to become your most empowered self.
Great day, amazing humans. Welcome to the Empowered in My Skin podcast, where our mission is to help 1 billion people in this world think in more empowering ways. Empowered humans empower humans. So you are the right spot to become a lead domino for empowerment today. So let the show begin. Oh, great day. Amazing humans. And guess what? We are back, season 8. And our first amazing guest. And you don't need another planner, another strategy, or another yes on your calendar. What you need is truth about who you are and what you carry within you. Today's guest is here to disrupt the lie that busyness equals purpose and confront the quiet identity crisis so many high capacity people are living in. This conversation isn't about doing more. It's about coming back to yourself and building from alignment, not pressure or obligation. So please get ready to unbox clarity, courage, and calling with Nicole Salmon. Oh my gosh. And I
Uh,
also want to say repeat guest,
yes,
repeat guest.
for as
Yes.
long as you'll keep having me.
Yes. So I do have to ask because we're actually going to put your previous episode in the show notes so that people can go and listen because you're so aligned with purpose and helping people really unpack that for themselves and what it means. And so if I had to ask you like, well, first question, let me get to the first question, then I'll go into that. But what has been your most empowering thought of the day so far?
I am allowed to.
Ooh, tell us more.
Mhm. I am allowed to. Tell you more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, especially if you're raised where you weren't given a lot of
Oh,
permission to do a lot
mm-hmm,
of things,
mm-hmm,
that stays with you even into adulthood.
mm-hmm.
And it took me a long time and a lot of work to realize that I get to give myself permission to set boundaries, permission to say no, permission to change my mind, whatever it is. Like I get to, and
Mm-hmm.
that's really empowering for me. So that I had that cross my mind today because I had an experience and I had to remind myself like, no, you're allowed to do that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like give
Mm-hmm.
yourself a permission slip.
I love that. And I mean, in the work that you do, how much of us are walking around, and this might be just but generally, a lot
Hmm.
of us are walking around with old cultural norms. And like if somebody like I'm allowed to does require you, in my opinion, I'm thinking almost like unravel like unraveling what you've been used to, right? And
Right.
so how could somebody really start to get there where they can say, you know what? No, I'm actually allowed to be loud, to
Yeah.
laugh
Yeah.
loud,
Right. Yeah.
to
Yeah. To
to
frolic, to play.
to be heard, right? Like be
Yeah.
seen, not heard. Like all so
Yeah.
what's the work to get us to I'm allowed to?
Yeah, it's big. You say like how much of this, do I see or is I wrote a whole book on this, right? And the language that I use is unboxing, right? And I think what's required is to actually just sit with those conversations very intentionally. Like I describe that whole unboxing process as having three elements, right? So
Mhm.
us sitting intentionally and thinking about, okay, what do I need to evaluate? Right. So,
Mhm.
like you said, some of those messages that I received that I kind of hang my hat on and I call it truth when it's
Mm-hmm.
not,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what do I need to evaluate? What do I need to elevate? There are some great things that I'm like, no, that was true. That stays with me, and I'm gonna add, I'm gonna add that to the toolkit
Mm-hmm.
and to the identity shaper. But then there's the one that I think we struggle with the most, which is what do I need to eliminate, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that one that we just started out talking about was, yeah, that notion that, funny, before we titled the book Courage and Confidence, one of the original titles that I played around with was The Making of Miss Inappropriate.
Mm.
And maybe that's still a book in
In
the
the blizzard.
making. I don't know, but it deals with like it's the idea of when parts of you have been described as inappropriate,
Mm-hmm.
right? So whether it's being loud, speaking up, confronting, asking questions,
Mm-hmm.
um, at some point it shapes you.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point you have to sit and consider, should it?
Yeah.
And is it time for some of those labels and those narratives to go so I can actually be who I was designed to be?
Yeah. And last time we met, we actually did go through your book. It was at the infancy. I know you had sent me a copy, and I appreciated
Hmm.
it. You were getting ready. You were doing the work to tour. And
Yes.
so how has that been since the launch and all of the opportunity? Because I think you were going to Atlanta, if I recall.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you were doing Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah. I was in North
Yeah.
Carolina. I was in a few places. Yeah. And then I came back home. Hmm.
And how's that been? What has come from sort of that release? Um, and
It's
who's Nicole now?
incredible. It's, yeah, it feels like it's inwardly, it feels like a resurgence of the book because there's still
Mhm.
so much that I want to squeeze out of it.
Mhm.
It just feels like the book that keeps on giving. It was so, you launch, it's all of this excitement, it quiets down and it feels like, did I even write a book? But then then there's this second wind that comes and you know, there's a whole other wave of readers who get their hands on the book and the emails start to come in, the interview invites start to come again, and I think that's the beautiful thing about writing versus speaking.
Mhm.
I think written words, like they just kind of have a way of continuously going and going, and I've just been going wherever those words take me.
And what's been your biggest growth since the launch? Personal.
Because of the book.
Yeah. Well, that whole
um
experience, like I'm actually, as you
yeah.
talk, I'm looking, I know I have the book. It was on my bedside table, but I pretty much think I brought it down. I want to show the listeners. Yeah, but keep
Hmm.
going. Hmm.
My biggest growth, ironically, I think has been the acceptance that I'm a writer.
Hmm.
When I started writing the book, I didn't feel like a writer. I was a speaker. I was accustomed. There's my baby. Hi, honey. Hi, honey.
I was like, oh, okay, continue. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I accepted my strengths and my gifts as a speaker. But I didn't really see myself as a writer. And
Hmm.
so the process of writing the book, owning the messaging, honing in on the messaging, um, really brought me into the acceptance of that
Hmm.
part of my identity. I think that's true for a lot of us, right? Like we have muscles that we don't use a lot, so we don't think we're strong in that area
Hmm.
until we have to work it, and you realize, okay, no, there's something here. Like I went from writing a book kicking and screaming, like it really
Hmm.
was a kicking. I think we talked about that. Like it's
Yes.
a kicking and screaming experience. Now sometimes my poor husband's trying to like get my attention to tell me something and I'm writing and I'm like, hang on, got a thought, must write, must and I don't move. Like I sit and I don't move sometimes for hours at a
Mm.
time because I'm writing and there's a flow, and that came from just saying yes to the book. I didn't feel like that when I wrote one, but I
Yeah,
definitely feel like an author since the
I
book.
love that. And you
Hmm.
are
Thank
wonderful. I
you.
love that. So you work with a lot of, I'm going to say like high capacity women,
Hmm.
and who pretty much, I'm going to say, are like have a capable of doing almost anything. And so how do you help them discern between what they can do and what they're called to do? Because
Hmm.
yeah, anyway, let me stop there. Hmm.
What they can do and what they're called to do. I think it's a process of elimination, really. That word called, calling, we often think of spiritual, we think, someone's called to the cloth or something like that. But in the original, I believe Greek, the word is klētós.
Hmm.
And klētós means an invitation. And so I think it's reminding those women to kind of pause and look at what is God, what is life inviting them to do right now, and are they saying yes to that? So whose invitation are they currently responding to?
Ooh, whose
And
invitation are they
who,
currently responding to?
who is it the children? Is it the spouse? Is it a partner? Is it the job? Is it social media? Is it, in my internal voice, like whose yes am I currently responding to? And I think that's a really good place to start with peeling
Mm,
back, you know, call, versus.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is there a linkage to there to intention? Like, mhm,
Absolutely. Being
mhm,
being being deliberate and so much of the work that I do, like you said, is about intentionality.
mhm,
It's about looking at my time, my energy, like just everything. Like even in this season, the intentionality around my wardrobe, like,
mhm.
right? Because I'm like, I'm in a particular season. I know what's required from me. I don't need any disruptions. Like I have about three or four of the same or similar two-piece coordinate sets because I just
You
can't. Like
thinking?
it's
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
just can't. I have some I need to be able to just jump into something clean and not overthink
Hmm.
it, right? And
Hmm.
so there has to be a level of intention when you're operating with at that level
Hmm.
of output in
Yeah.
your life. Um, nothing can be wasted.
Hmm.
Nothing can be wasted. My response these days is usually I don't have enough estrogen for that. Like
Ooh.
I have minimal estrogen, minimal iron, minimal
Minimal. There's capacity draw. I'm
yeah, like
watching my
minimum,
levels.
and
Yeah.
I spend it minimal time, and I envision it like currency, like
Yeah.
dollars in my hand, and I decide like, like how am I gonna spend it
Spend that
today?
today.
Gotta be intentional.
And I think that is so that's so much I want to touch on. Like the first one that comes to mind when you said like yeah, the coordinates, like coordinating how much like your outfits, right? Like as I get that as well. Like even when I'm traveling,
Mm-hmm.
people wouldn't know this, but there's certain outfits that I have ready. Packing
Mm-hmm.
them. They're going to Ottawa. When I come back, they get cleaned. Maybe they
Yeah,
don't go on the next trip. They go on the trip after. And if you pay attention to the pattern, you'll see that I'm probably wearing this. Yeah,
same,
but all of that, I
same.
learned that from my mother because there's
Mm.
something called decision fatigue.
Yes.
My mom is a master at this. She has one winter coat, one winter boot,
Come on
like one
now.
pair of jeans. Like
Yeah,
she's there's not which jean is she gonna wear? Here are her jeans.
that's right.
Yeah, here's the top she's wearing with it. Here's the jacket she's putting on. Here's the boots. And she's out. She doesn't even have to think about it. It's all she has. And as we get older and as more life happens, I believe that what you just touched on there is so value add about removing the amount of decisions that you have to make. So you have
Yeah.
capacity. The other thing I wanted to ask you was, because I kind of felt this in what you were saying, and I want to make sure if it's similar. So as I think about like the question about like how you help them discern what I can do versus what I'm called to do, and I like the distinction that you made. Like it's not sort of this godly call. It's sort of I think what's the ask of you,
Yeah.
and where is it coming from? I also want to ask you like if it's in the context of paying attention to the things that exhaust you, right?
Yes.
Like you get to the end of your work week and you're just exhausted, you know?
Mhm.
Is there something in some truth in there that potentially, like back to that same question, there was a lot you did over the course of the week that wasn't for you to do?
Mhm.
And because you didn't take the time to like sort of think intentionally that
Mhm.
you're like, what's your thoughts around that?
Absolutely. I call it sweat equity,
Mm,
right? Like we don't consider how much sweat equity goes into getting something. And when we are misaligned, the
mm,
weight and the pull of life is that much heavier. So if you think about our physical body, and I remember getting this image after going to the chiropractor for the first time, like if you've ever had any part of your body misaligned, a spine, a wrist, or something, whatever you have to do becomes that much heavier, that much more painful. New pains show up as a
mm-hmm,
result of the fact that I am misaligned.
mm-hmm,
So, a huge indicator is that level of deep exhaustion that sleep does not cure.
mm,
Because when I am misaligned, life it creates it creates two things. It creates a dis-ease,
mm, mm-hmm,
and if left for too long, disease,
mm,
right? So we definitely, it's because it's not just that exhaustion. It's often exhausted and man, my head has been hurting, or, my digestion has been off,
mm-hmm,
or, like I'm bloated. There's aches,
mm-hmm,
like it shows up, and we think our body is the issue, but what it really is our internal alignment and
mm.
our and more specifically our internal purpose alignment.
So could there be another way of this as well, where you have women who are massively productive,
Hmm.
right? And achieving and not exhausted, like they're on like that dopamine hit every time they hit a goal, they land something, they get some type of reward for the work that they're doing.
Hmm.
But then when they sit in when they sit in this in the quiet of themselves,
Hmm.
they're like, what's the meaning? Like, what am I?
Yeah. It's
What?
that disease, right?
Okay.
It's
Mhm.
that dis-ease, and it's
Mm.
going to visit you. So
Okay.
I
Somewhere.
think busyness is not the same thing as productivity. Right? And I think that because we are busy and maybe things are getting done, and again, it's whose invitation are you responding to, right?
Hmm.
So who cares if you're ticking off things on a checklist over on this left column when
Hmm.
really you're supposed to be operating in this right column? Like, are you truly being productive, or are
Hmm.
you actually just super busy? And so that gratification and that satisfaction that comes from ticking things off, crossing them off. It'll visit you. It visits you
Hmm.
in your sleep for a lot of people. It visits you in those pauses. And again, the dis-ease may not feel the same as it does for someone else, but
Hmm.
that's why I said if left too long, the disease definitely.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that's one we can't escape.
So there's productivity. Is productivity? How do I? Does productivity 100% mean purpose?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so you could be productivity and still misaligned. You could be productive and still misaligned.
You can be product and misaligned. You can be still and in alignment. So I'm going to say that again. You can be
Okay.
productive and misaligned,
Mm-hmm.
but you can be
Uh,
still and be in
okay.
purpose.
Yeah.
And
Huh.
because that truth exists for a lot of us, especially high capacity women, when
Mm-hmm.
life does happen and it slows us down and we have to be still, not by choice, and that stillness, because like I said, it visits us, right? We start to question our identity. We start to question our value. We start to question our sense of self-worth because we're used to the equation of productivity equals purpose, which
Mm-hmm.
is not true, right? So can I be still and still be convinced that I add value to the world?
Hi.
Can I not produce and still know that I am important? Like it doesn't change the price tag on me.
Wow, that last part.
Like I'm not on sale or on clearance because I'm not, and I
Yeah,
go
yeah,
through that.
yeah.
I'm speaking from which I know. Like I'm not speaking as an insider being like looking in from a window in Windows. I'm speaking from a very personal place of,
Hmm.
when life slows you down, and like when I'm used to writing and devotionals are coming out and the calendar's full and I'm
Hmm.
speaking and it feels great. And then so what does it mean when no one's inviting me?
So it's interesting because in our B-roll, we had such a great B-roll.
We
By the way,
did.
I came into this episode so refreshed and renewed and
We
elevated. Just
really did.
FYI, you got to spend some time with Nicole. But, um, I mentioned that
Yeah.
last year was a sneak peek, I think, to Life's Coming Attraction, and I consider 2024 a drought.
Mm-hmm.
Did you? And so I'm thinking what you just said, because there was less activity.
Mm.
I was actually forced to sit in my stillness more. It felt very uncomfortable.
Very, yeah. Yeah.
Um, but this is so great because I did get through the year.
Mm-hmm.
But I sat in that discomfort, wondering, am I still relevant?
Right.
What happened to all the like gigs? Like, am I still
Yeah.
gonna get
All
any?
things. What does this mean? The fear of being, you know, irrelevant
Forgotten.
and forgotten. Yeah. 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 That's a hard one.
That is a hard one.
Yeah.
And I think that's what keeps people in situations for a really, really long time. When the time to pivot and to turn and evolve is long past, right? Is
Yeah.
that need to feel relevant?
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about unboxing who you're created to be, and what do women usually have to unlearn before this is continually
It
on to
is.
some of that conversation we had about the things that we have to like move
Mm-hmm.
from, but to really step into that identity. And I love, yeah, the identity. I could talk about identity all day long, but yeah, what would that be?
I think their concept and notion around rest. So I think it piggybacks on what we're just talking about.
Mm,
I think that we've got a lot of work to do around how we see rest. So
mm,
many of us walk around with the belief that we have to earn rest.
mm,
Some of us come from backgrounds where we didn't see the women around us rest.
mhm,
Some of us come from, stories where rest was condemned,
mhm,
right? You were told you were lazy if you
mhm,
rested, right? And so I think that because rest increases a lot of things. Rest increases, I always say resiliency, rest increases creativity,
mhm,
but rest also increases clarity.
mhm,
And so when we don't have a healthy perspective on rest, again, it's piggybacking on what we're saying. Two things happens. It messes with our sense of perception and clarity,
mhm,
right? But it also creates uh this vacuum
mhm,
that we sit in, where when life does sit us down and require us to rest, because we have this unhealthy relationship with rest and ideas about rest, it messes with how we see our life and our
mhm,
sense of worth. So two
mhm,
things are happening. Our
mhm,
clarity, right, is being clouded,
mhm,
and our sense of I and henceforth our sense of identity
mhm.
gets clouded when rest isn't held in its rightful place. It's so important. God rested. God
Yes, on the
rested.
seventh day, yeah.
God
Mhm,
rested. The
mhm,
creator of the universe rested.
yeah.
And so, we if I'm like, my gosh, if God could do that and model that, I believe he
Mhm,
needed. I believe he was modeling it. I
yeah.
believe it was him giving us permission.
I have a question for you because I
Yes.
think the first thing that might come to a listener that's coming, and it's interesting because we actually did an episode specifically on something I learned from Pastor Rick Warren that said, um, don't rest from work, work
Right.
from rest. Right.
Yes.
So when we talk about rest, because for some people that might equal sleep, which it is,
Mhm.
right? Or might equal having to take a vacation or this and the other. But when I am resting
Mm-hmm.
or when I'm taking rest, can you talk to us about what it would feel like? Because
Mm-hmm.
I think it could be personal for each of us, especially when you think about what he's saying. I
Right.
try to incorporate pockets of rest every single day,
Right.
with it throughout my day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what would be the tenets outside of sleep and taking a
Yeah, yeah,
vacation?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith has an incredible book called Sacred Rest.
Mm.
I highly recommend it.
Hmm.
And she talks about the 7 types of rest. She's a medical doctor, therapist, all the things. And she wrote this incredible book, and she talks about the different kinds of rest. And yeah, sleep isn't just it. We just think, oh, I got enough sleep, or I don't need as much sleep as the average person. But it talks about, the need to, like, for creative rest, psychological rest. Um, you know, and I know that I'm misnaming them. Like,
Hmm.
this is not exactly how they're
Hmm.
labeled in her book, but like almost like a rest from technology, right?
Hmm.
And so there's a quiz you can actually do, that kind of shows you the area of rest that you may be needing to focus on in this season. So I highly recommend people to grab
Okay.
the book or just run on over. You can do the quiz by going on her website.
Hmm.
But we're not just talking about sleep here, but yes, I touched on it, psychological, technology, creative rest. Um, there's so many other areas that we
Hmm.
really need to
Hmm.
be touching on. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up, because rest is not just about sleeping.
Right.
Some of us sleep and we wake up exhausted,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
Because it's not the kind of rest that we really need. Our
Yeah.
mind is not at rest. Our emotions are not at rest.
Yeah.
Um, and so we need to, again, that word intention, we need
Hmm.
to be intentional about identifying the kind of rest that is needed. So much so that in like addiction recovery, there is this acronym that is used called HALT. And in addiction recovery, part of what is taught is that anytime that you find, you should halt if you find any of these things happening in your life. And so you should never allow yourself to get to H is hungry.
Hmm.
Sometimes I say to my clients, like, no, you just need a nap. Okay, no, never, you should just never too hungry, never too angry, A,
Hmm.
angry, L, never too lonely, and
Hmm.
the T is never too tired.
Too
So
tired.
hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. And I think those lean into areas of rest in
Mm.
our life as well that we need to be paying attention to.
Hmm. Before this, so we batch our episodes. So recording this on a Friday, it's well before we publish because we batch the season, but it's a Friday when we're recording this. And interesting, I had an amazing conversation with one of my leaders to end the day, and it was just laughter. We I mean, like my head was back. you know,
Yeah.
and 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 it's so funny because I recognized that after that I took a call that started at 4:15. We laughed
Okay.
probably from like 3:55 to like 4:16 because I was a minute joining late.
Love it.
And I realize now that we're talking about this, my whole week I distressed. Like I don't
Mhm.
feel any weight from the week. And so
Mhm.
laughter is a form of rest. Because I think to
Yes.
your point, what you're trying to say earlier was my brain rested from whatever were all the circling thoughts of the things maybe I didn't get done during the course of the week. My
Hmm.
emotions, like there was no anxiety, no like just laugh. So laughter is rest.
Yes.
Anything, yeah, I love anyway, still love that we're talking about this. Wow, can't believe the time is ticking, but I want to I want to get into a little bit about confidence, right? It being so central to your work. And so
Mhm.
from your perspective, how does confidence rooted in identity differ from confidence built on performance and validation? Ooh,
Yeah, whew, because it's shifting.
yeah.
And it can't, confidence that is built on performance or any of that stuff, it can never be satiated. Because what happens, let's say you're performing really well on a job and that makes you feel good. Well, what happens when you lose the job, right? Let's say your confidence is anchored in a particular relationship and that relationship ends. What is that? What does it do to your sense of self? And so I confidence, and identity, they're so linked together because performance cannot be satiated. It's like, it's always moving, always changing, always demanding more, right? Demanding us to do more, show up more, work harder, hustle, hustle, go, go. And it's always changing. And that, when we talk about rest, nothing can bring us out of rest than riding that kind of emotional wave and flux. Like, am I good today? Right? Did I get enough likes? Do I have enough follows? Did I book enough gigs? Did I do enough? Right? And it's kind of like, did I? And you're constantly panting and chasing after something that can't be caught. But
Mhm.
when confidence is anchored in what you know over what you do, that is
Mhm.
powerful.
Yeah. So that works well for people who really understand their identity.
Yeah,
Because I do believe maybe, and you work with clients whose identity is in their work, in their relationships, in
yeah.
their, so you're really talking about an identity that's rooted in like like God. I'm like, or something bigger than self. Yeah.
Something,
Yeah.
yeah, something bigger. And I think it's an interchange, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like I think about there's this story in the Bible about this woman at the well, and she's she has like a ratchety history
Mm-hmm.
of being with all of these men. And so she has to go at an awkward time of the day when like the sun is its hottest and no one pulls water at that time, but she goes then because the other women aren't there and she can kind of get water in peace. And so this is where she, encounters Jesus. And so he starts talking to her. He's asking her questions that he knows the answers to about who she is, right? Like he's like, so where your man at, right? And she's like, well, actually, I don't have a man. And he's like, you right, because even the one you're with, he ain't yours either, right? Like they get into this really provocative conversation, but what's beautiful is she starts asking her like who's this man who's like telling me about myself and all. And so as she's getting to know him, as she's seeing more about him, she's seeing more about herself. And so there's this beautiful exchange. And so I think when I say it's grounded in the knowing, you're absolutely right. It's being rooted in something bigger than ourselves, right? But it's also, when I say the knowing, I want to give encouragement to the person who may feel like, but what happens when I don't know? Like, I just don't
Mm-hmm.
know who I am, right? For
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason, like life has happened and it's distorted
Mm-hmm.
it, crisis, grief, all trauma, all the things that shift us and shake us at our core. This is why I believe in it. I don't want to call it fake it till you make it. I'd call it faith it till you make it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are some parts of who I am that I am not convinced yet. I know them to be true in glimmers. And so here's what I mean by that. I always say to my clients, write down clarity when you get clarity. So if you're listening to this podcast and you got a glimmer that in 30 seconds of this podcast something came to you that was true about who you are, write that down, because there will be seasons that will shake you at your core, that will throw everything you thought you knew about who you are at out the window, and you will need something to go back to that you know you wrote at a time with clarity and a surety and
Mm.
confidence that you can trust. And for those who anchor themselves in something bigger, in addition to journaling those thoughts, it's the word of God and going back to scripture. But in addition to scripture, I'm writing down what I'm learning and what as God is revealing truth to me about me, because I don't believe it every day. I don't
Hi.
believe, I don't believe, I don't believe it every day. But I gotta go back and I gotta remind myself truth, not affirmations that we downloaded off of somebody's website that gives them motivation, but truth about me. And it's so important that we hear it. And having it written down somewhere means this is how empowering this concept is. Having it written down somewhere is so empowering because it means I don't have to wait for someone else to tell me. I don't have to wait for the right conference, right book, right podcast, right situation to hopefully hear something that's going to give me strength. I can take it out and I can say it out loud and I can speak to myself and speak myself into the direction that I need to be going and the posture that I need to be standing, because you will not believe it every day. And it doesn't mean you're not confident. It just means that in this moment, I'm not clear. Because confidence isn't a feeling, it's a knowing. And people ask me all the way, "You're so motivated. How are you so confident?" I'm not. I am not. I am clear. I am clear about who I am and I am clear about who called me. And so if you ever catch me on a confidence, kind of spree, it's not because I think that I'm better and I got it going on and all of that. And you know what I mean? It's not about that. It's because it's not about a feeling. It's not about how I felt when I woke up that day. I didn't feel it when I came on this podcast. I wasn't feeling it when we connected. I wasn't
Goodness.
feeling it. But I am clear. I am clear about who I am. I am
Yeah.
clear about the mandate. And sometimes I go, Lord help me. I keep saying it. I'm gonna have to do it. I have cassette tapes. Don't laugh at me. I have cassette tapes over 25 years old of recordings of just beautiful words of affirmation about who I am being said to me, beautiful prophetic words that I go back to and listen to in times of drought to realign me. In my phone, I have notes that are dated. It'll say the date, it'll say who said it, and I go back and I read through them because I need something to re-anchor me. So this is powerful. I know I've been talking for a while, so I'm gonna stop
No,
talking, but
no,
this
I
is
think it's great. I
powerful.
was actually just because there's so much about what you said. I'm double clicking on a couple of them, but like I do every single month, I do like so these are
Yes,
January. And as I'm going through my day, it could be things I'm listening to or this, that, and the other. I'm
yes,
writing them down. And in the B-roll, I think there was one that I said to you that came from Sarah Jakes Roberts, where
yes,
it talked about my existence is evidence of God's faith in my ability to navigate this life that you've given me. But I
yes,
think what's really important, Nicole, that I want to pull out from everyone is you have to do it. What she said, doing it in the days of clarity are
yes,
so important. Don't waste
yes,
those seasons because this too shall pass applies
yes.
to seasons of clarity and
That's right.
seasons of uncertainty, right? And fear and scarcity. And what I love about that is that it is always about having something in you to reach back into to bring
Yeah,
out when you need it. Because if you think in a season of uncertainty and scarcity that you are suddenly going to be inspired
yeah,
to go and figure out some of this stuff, you're
yeah,
not. It
yeah,
has to already be implanted.
yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Good. Ma'am, you took me there.
Was not disturbing. I was like, yo, preach. Go on.
You took me there.
So I have to ask,
Please.
just to show what's possible,
Yeah,
please, in your words,
yeah.
I am.
Ooh, I am. A force. I am. Oh, can I keep going, or you just want
Yeah,
to?
no. Did you see me
Because
sip?
this
Did you
feels
see?
good.
Yeah, please. I go on. I
I
sat back to
am.
enjoy this.
I am a force. I am a disruptor. I am a strategist. I am a shifter. I am a builder. I am, and then let's lighten it. I am funny. I am lovable. I say that that one is just for me because I gotta remind, we were talking about this. I gotta remind myself that I am lovable when the world tells me otherwise. I am lovable. I am deserving of love. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And it's funny because I actually enjoy being a blessing to others.
Mm-hmm.
And of late, just life has challenged that. And I had to, and I almost doubted that. My name means God's gift.
All right.
And so I should be a gift in everybody's life, but I recognize you're only a gift to those you're assigned it to.
Mm.
And so I say all of that too, because to what you said earlier and everything that you just said there, there's going to be pockets of times where you're in a season or a moment as you were speaking that I'm a strategist.
Mhm.
I am lovable, where you'll be in a situation where someone's trying to tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
And why it's so important to
Yeah.
write those down and repeat them to yourselves all the time so that you can go
Yeah.
back and recall it,
Mhm.
not figure it out then
Mhm.
to what they're saying, because I believe
Yeah.
the two can be true.
Yeah. My kind of mantra in this season is I
Hmm.
believe me.
Ooh,
I
that's a
believe
big
me.
one.
Hmm. I'm
That's a
naturally,
big one.
yeah, I'm naturally a deeply introspective person, like even as a
Hmm.
child. Like if something happens, I'm always gonna start with me. I'm always gonna
Hmm.
start with not did I do something wrong, but I try to look for myself
Hmm.
in and what that creates, and I'm an introvert too.
Hmm.
So what that creates if you like live in that pocket too
Hmm.
long is you start to undo all the things
Mm.
about who you are.
Mhm.
And so in this season, I'm having to believe myself again,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
And when you say like remembering who you are, and what's the response when someone hits me with something? I don't agree with you.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I don't
yeah,
come into agreement. I'm introspective. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but that I don't
yeah,
agree
yeah.
with you. Yeah, so this is a I believe me season for
Mhm.
me. Yeah.
And you're allowed, what was it? I'm
And
allowed
I'm
to?
allowed
Allowed to.
to.
Yeah. And now
I'm
full circle, right? We
full
just brought this
circle.
full circle. I love
I
it.
believe me and I'm allowed
I'm
to. Yeah.
allowed to.
Yes.
So now I'm going to take you through our rapid fivers.
Go for it.
Yeah. So when you think of someone who inspires you, who comes first to mind?
In this season,
Yeah.
Jackie Hill Perry.
Oh, who's that? I should know that.
She is a Bible teacher,
Okay.
rapper.
Okay.
She's a few things.
She's a force.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's many things, and yeah, I love how consistent she seems. I say seems
Hmm.
because I don't know her personally,
Hmm. A,
but yeah,
a daily activity that helps you with your thrive.
a daily activity that helps me with my thrive, journaling.
A book that has helped you with your thrive outside of yours, because I will
Mm.
share yours.
The Way, Practicing the Way by
Practicing.
Mark John McCormer, I think is his name, something
Okay.
like
I'll also share the book that you talked about earlier
that.
around rest. Yeah.
Hmm.
What is an app that helps you with your thrive?
Strangely, like I have an iPhone, the health
Hmm.
app. The health app has been a big part of my thrive in
Love
this
that.
season.
And what is one misconception that people have of you as they see you in your thrive?
That I'm really serious. Yeah, like there's this, like what I said, I'm funny. Like there's this softer comedic side to me that not
Mm.
everyone gets to enjoy nearly enough, I think. So I think that people think that I'm just really like serious and nose to the plow and like no mess around. But like when you talk about laughter, yeah, it's my go-to.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
And so where do we find more of you online?
Yeah, absolutely. Just look for me by name, Nicole O Salmon. I always say salmon is spelled like the fish, and don't forget the O in the middle.
And I have a parting question to ask you. But before I do, you
Yeah.
are the first guest
Okay.
of season 8.
No
And
pressure, no pressure.
no, I think this is great. And I'm
Okay.
actually, so Stephen Bartlett does this thing that I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna steal it. He kind of,
Okay.
but I don't think he does it live.
Okay.
But it's either, so I'm actually thinking, I'm trying this out with you for the first time because you're the first. So it's either a question
Okay.
or you get to share a piece of wisdom with the next guest that you don't even know who it is.
Okay.
So do you want to ask them a question that I'll ask them? Or do you want to
Okay.
share a piece of wisdom that you'd like them to carry to pay it forward?
Hmm. Do I want to add? This is good. Do I want to ask them a question?
Or give them a piece of wisdom that they can pay forward?
I want to ask them a question.
Okay, what's the question?
Hmm. What is something that you've had to either A, forgive yourself for,
Ooh.
or B, give yourself permission to do that has shifted the trajectory of how you live life now?
Thank you. And for your final question,
Okay.
finish this for me because in this season of life,
Yes.
I am empowered in my skin when.
Ooh, I've got to look at the camera for this.
Okay.
So I am empowered in my skin when I do not apologize for being who I am. Oh my gosh, I want to cry. Whew.
And you shouldn't. I we're bringing you back, everybody. She's going to be on an Empowering Bites episode. We just had to figure it out because there is something that she shared. It was on Breakfast TV, was it? On Breakfast?
Um,
No, or CP24. It was one
Huntley
of
Street,
one
Huntley Street,
Huntley Street. That's right.
100 Huntley Street. Yeah.
And I really want to bring you back in for your wisdom. But I can tell you something, like I can spend time with you and always feel renewed, refreshed, elevated, ready to like fly.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, I'm so grateful for you, Nicole. I'm
Thank you.
grateful
Thank
for
you.
how you lean in on your
Thank you.
skills and your talents and gifts unapologetically.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Always elevating, never shifting. Like
Thank you.
you're amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate
to
it.
yeah, and to everyone that's listening, this is sadly where I have to say we're out. Bye-bye. There you have it. I trust that you're feeling more empowered in your skin. And as the late Dr. Maya Angelou says, when you get, you give, when you learn, you teach. So it would mean so much for us at EIMS if you share this episode and tag us or teach an insight that you learned from today's episode on your socials and tag us. And remember to go over onto iTunes and leave us a review or follow us on socials at Empowered in My Skin. But most importantly, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.